Benicio del Toro lets out the beast inside in The Wolfman. We'll review that as well as the buffet of celebrities that is Valentine's Day.
Killing zombies was never as fun as it is in Zombieland. We'll take a look at that new DVD release, as well as Dylan Walsh as quite possibly the worst stepfather of all time.
Finally, we'll take a sneak peek at a few movies coming to theaters, including the latest visual contact high by Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland. Well, welcome into the Red Hot Ticket. I'm Josh Greenberg, along with my co-host Steve Habel. We've got a really eclectic show for you today, as we'll be reviewing a movie about werewolves, as well as a movie about relationships and lovey-dovey stuff. So, let's get right to our movie reviews. In 1935, The Werewolf made its big screen debut with Werewolf in London. The creature made another feature appearance 6 years later with George Wagner's The Wolfman. Now, it's been 69 years, but The Werewolf has finally made it back to 2010's version of The Wolfman.
I'm afraid the darkest hours of hell lie before you. I don't think they'll kill you, Lawrence, but they will blame you. The beast will have its day. The beast will out.
Lawrence Talbot, Benicio del Toro, has been summoned home when his brother's fiancée tells him of his brother's death. He returns home to a distant father he barely knows, played by Anthony Hopkins, and a town he hasn't been back to in many years. After seeing his brother's mutilated body, Lawrence decides to investigate the murder. While at a gypsy camp, he gets attacked by a werewolf and becomes afflicted with the curse. Lawrence must now fight the demon within as he unravels a secret he never wanted to know. The Wolfman gave me a lot more than I expected in some areas and less in others. The gore was relentless, while most of the time not being too over the top, and some of the dreamlike sequences would certainly haunt my sleep. Hopkins' performance stands out above the rest in this movie. He gives his character great depth as he is revealed throughout the movie. Each delivery and every action is carefully calculated. There's still something that kept me from really loving this movie.
You know, one thing I really liked about this movie was the way it looked and the way it felt. It was dark. It reminded me a lot of Sleepy Hollow from back in 2001, which is a movie I really liked. But, you know, at times it was a little too dark. It was like you're watching it in the theater and you can barely see things on the screen.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a lot of things that keep this movie from necessarily being a great movie. I think that the overall look of the movie is really good, but at times you're just not quite sure what's going on because key scenes where, you know, Benicio del Toro gets attacked by the werewolf, I mean, it's supposed to be really fast and it's supposed to be dark, but there are times where you're wondering what's going on, and you know, these are key scenes that you really need to actually see what's happening.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with the pace of the movie as well. It started off very slow, introducing everybody, and then it really started to pick up, and like you said, you kind of get lost along the way. There's one thing I wanted to point out was like the look of the werewolf itself, because we were talking about before how they kind of went back to their old school werewolf look, and I thought, I don't know, I think it could have been a little bit scarier than it really was. I
think that it looked more like a dog boy, like Benicio del Toro's first role in Pee-wee's Big Top, than necessarily a Wolfman. It wasn't totally intimidating to me. Well, I'm not sure if it was the lack of originality with the plot, the almost too dark look of the film, or the design of the werewolf himself, but something keeps this movie from being great. I give Wolfman 3.5 werewolves out of 5.
Let's see how many actors, actresses, and cliches we can fit into one movie. Let's make it all about love and release it on Valentine's Day weekend when we know we can make $1 bajillion. We have for you Valentine's Day.
There's only one story today, Calvin. It's all yours. It's not complicated. It's your basic man on the street. Tell me, John Q, Jane Q, what does Valentine's Day mean to you?
It gives me acid reflux. That's what it means to me. I mean, we spend a lot of money. Nobody cares. It's not even a real holiday. We don't take the day off. Come on, Susan.
And we're coming back in 5, 4...
I'm a player, but I shut down my playerness from New Year's to St. Patty's Day just so I can avoid this day.
This film features an ensemble cast of anyone and everyone hot right now in Hollywood. It focuses on a bunch of different storylines as they unfold throughout the Valentine's Day holiday. Ashton Kutcher and Jennifer Gardner have more prominent roles, while other stars like Julia Roberts, Patrick Dempsey, Queen Latifah have much smaller parts. Somewhat entertaining events happen throughout the course of the film, and of course they all come together in the end. This is actually a movie that I wanted to see, mostly because of all the people in it. I was excited to see all the stars, but I wasn't exactly expecting a complex storyline. What I got was a handful of smaller storylines that would link together in the most ridiculous ways. There are too many coincidences, too many random plot points, way too many cliche lines, and too much bad acting by people named Taylor. Outside of those two, the other actors were very average, and I feel like they were kind of upstaged by some of the minor characters, most notably the little boy Edison, played by Bryce Robinson. Overall, this was a very disappointing movie, especially with the cast that they managed to pull in.
I can tell that you're pretty fired up about this, and I think that you've got good reason. That the Hollywoodizing of these types of movies are really turning these films into these just little snack foods. I mean, if you took all of the plot lines, all the different stories, and you divided it out into equal times, each storyline would have 10 minutes. Can you think of any movie that can tell a complete and well thought out story in 10 minutes?
I can't, and I know they tried to do it, and it just really didn't work out. Like I said, the separate storylines just come together in really weird ways. There's a lot of coincidences in the movie. And the big stars that they had, I felt that when I found myself laughing, it was normally at something that one of the minor characters had said. We've got bad acting, dumb storylines, ridiculous situations, and plot twists. Luckily, the film features some funny bloopers and a couple of good wisecracks about the state of Indiana. I'm going to have to give this one 1.5 giant white teddy bears out of 5. If you want a good movie about love with an ensemble cast, watch Love Actually instead. What would you do if you found out the man your mom decided to remarry was a psychopathic killer? After the break, we'll review The Stepfather and another new DVD release, Zombieland.
And a little later, we'll see what happens when people stop being polite and start getting crazy.